All right, so number one is to stop comparing yourself to others. Now, younger me relished the fact that I was ahead of my peers, but older me sees others ahead of me and I can slip into guilt and shame. And none of this is useful. Your background is different than my background, different than all the people we see that we compare ourselves to. Now, not only does comparing ourselves to others make us feel bad, but when we have the habit of comparing ourselves to others, it makes it harder for us to access the resources that we need to be able to achieve the things we're trying to achieve. There's maybe a tiny window of space each year when you can compare yourself to others. It's probably when you're like goal setting or maybe thinking about what you want to do or looking over the fence to see what other people are up to. But other than that, the rest of the year, who cares what everyone else is doing? So the opposite of comparing yourself to others is figuring out what you want to do. What makes you happy? What goals do you want to go after? What things do you want to do with your days? People that are self-assured and happy, confident with who they are, they don't really compare themselves to others. And if this still plagues you, get that off your list for 2025. Now, before we hit number 2, if you're new here, my name is Pat. I've been making YouTube videos here for about 6 months, documenting how businesses can get inbound lead flow. Coming up, I've got 8 more things you can stop doing in 2025. These are things who my clients whose businesses have blown up, they don't do these things anymore. Now, the last 3, these aren't for the weak. These are for people who genuinely want to reach that next level. All right, number 2 is to stop chasing quick wins. Quick wins just chew up energy. So the short game is about hacking attention, getting as much as you can, and then trying to manually convert that attention into leads, and then taking those leads and figuring out manually how you can turn them into sales as fast as possible. You can do that. There's no problem with that. But if you're doing that all the time, if that's your main thing, you're going to get very tired very quickly. You're going to burn out. Meanwhile, the long game is about having a lead scooping mechanism in place inside your business that takes all that attention and spits out clients. So in 2025, instead of focusing on one or the other, just make the decision you're going to do both. You're going to spend a small amount of time each day on the long game, and then the rest of the day you can get as much attention as you want. Then as your sales pipeline starts to fill up, you can stop doing short-term stuff and spend more time on the long game, because that's where you're going to get freedom from the day-to-day in your business and have constant inbound lead flow. Number 3 is to stop being the smartest person in the room. Old Rohn talks about it. You are the average of the 5 people that you hang around the most. And you've probably heard that, and that's really good advice. But one thing that we tend to do is it feels good when you're the smartest person in the room, when you have all the answers, and you can be that person who helps other people all the time. But that's not really good for business. It's not really good for growth. So while it might feel nice to your ego, in 2025, break out of your mold, get out of your bubble, push the boundaries, find people who are smarter than you, find people who challenge you, and get into their world. Doors will open that you didn't even know existed. Now, if you're the kind of person who brags about being a multitasker, you've got to let go of that personality. At this point, it's a proven fact that multitasking is a coping mechanism. It's not optimization. And no, I'm not going to provide studies. Just Google it. But it's not really enough to just say, stop multitasking. You're going to have to put some kind of effort in to stop being the kind of person who multitasks. It's a bad habit that you're going to have to break. But if you break it, you'll watch your productivity soar, and perhaps these business goals that you've been chasing for the last couple of years will finally be within reach. For me, I just use the rule of 1. So how it works is at the end of my day, I take a look at what I've done, what I'm going to do next week, what I've got to do tomorrow. And I just think, what's the most important thing that I've got to actually do? Not what's urgent, but what's the most important thing that I have to get done? I think about this question. If there's an emergency tomorrow and I only get the chance to do one thing, what one thing is that? And then I just write that down. And then tomorrow morning, I don't really do anything else until that one thing is done. Nothing. I don't check email. I don't check messages. Nothing else really gets my attention. So by having 5 days a week at least, where you're spending a good chunk of time doing one particular thing, you begin to nail those big rocks, and the habit of multitasking starts to sort of fade away. It's a great way to break the multitasking habit. Now, you may not have expected this one, but number 5 is you've got to stop ignoring thought leadership. So over time, one thing you'll find is that many of your best clients, they followed you for a while. In fact, often the best clients don't even come through your regular lead channels. They just bypass everything and go straight to you, and they tell you that they want to work with you because they've seen enough. They've been following, they trust you, and they're ready to get involved. Now, if you're not playing the long game, this won't happen for you. But even a simple strategy works really well to help these people. So what I'm talking about is playing the long game. And what I mean is starting something that you can commit to for at least 6 months, but ideally 2 years. But if you do this right, the things you talk about through your thought leadership will also inform the daily, weekly, monthly content. And the easy way to tackle thought leadership, make it a goal for 2025 to start either a YouTube channel or a podcast, or even something as simple as a newsletter using something like Substack. This next one is a motivation killer. Stop chasing other people's goals. Because no matter what journey you're on, at some point, it's going to get hard. And when that happens, if it's someone else's goal, you're going to fail. You'll either get tired, give up, run out of creativity, become the victim in the story. Whatever it is, if you're chasing someone else's goals, you're probably going to fail. And if you somehow manage to reach someone else's goals, it's going to feel shallow. It'll feel hollow. It'll be deeply unsatisfying. See, the way the world is going, 2025 could be a little bit scary for a few people. It could be difficult in a lot of markets around the world. A lot of industries, therefore a lot of people are likely to experience some pain. And the way I see it, if you're going to have to brace for the storm, if you're going to have to dig deep and figure out how to get through, then you might as well be doing it for your own damn reasons, not someone else's. Number 7, something your mum probably told you, stop being impatient. Yes, you can get fast results. Absolutely. But if you must get fast results, you're stacking so much pressure on yourself, stacking the odds against yourself, that the likelihood of you getting the results you're after drops way down. Because trying to force creativity to solve problems, you're just giving it stage fright. Figuring out how long something's going to take to do. As humans, we're terrible at estimating time. Something that we think will take 1 hour takes 6. And then there's things we think will take all day, and we're either done by lunchtime or they end up taking 3 days. And if your goal is to grow your business as fast as possible, there's nothing wrong with having that as a goal. But setting arbitrary time and delineating when you should and shouldn't be at a particular point, I just don't think that's very useful, because it doesn't give you any targets to work towards, and it doesn't provide any insight as to how to get there faster. So think in terms of checkpoints, like in a game. Yes, you want $1 million business. Okay, so what are you currently doing? $500,000? Less than that? Are you even making 10 grand a month yet? It doesn't really matter what stage you're at, just like in a game. You start at 0 and you work your way through. So instead of breaking projects down into time, break them down into checkpoints. But make sure the checkpoint is just far enough out of reach that it forces you to grow, to change, to evolve. When you do it that way, you're going to reach your goal, but you have a chance of reaching it even faster because you're not focusing on time, you're focusing on actual results. But impatient people, they get frustrated and they get burnt out and they're going to sit on the sideline while the rest of us keep playing. Ooh, one of my favorites, number 8, stop following gurus. I say be your own guru. What's this new sound that they've discovered? Oh, it's a pipe that likes to be gross. That's a toilet. Oh my God. I think that is a toilet. You're probably following a bunch of people in a bunch of different areas of life, and that's really useful. We love to do that. It's one of the cool things about the internet. We have access to so much good knowledge. Grab this person's stuff, take that person's stuff, take some of my stuff, run with it, use it, improve your life, improve your business. But don't put anyone up on a pedestal, except for yourself. Be your own cheer squad. Pump up your own tires every morning. You're the hero in your story, and the supporting characters are your family, your friends, the people you meet along the way. When we become attached to a leader, we stop seeing their faults. We stop seeing them as just other humans with their own shitty personality traits. I actually don't know the best way to stop following gurus, except to say, question everything. Because it's not the act of following someone that's bad. It's the blind information that you soak up over time, how it changes the direction that you're on. Number 9, stop consuming more than you create. Think of this as the creative equivalent of don't spend more than you earn. It's how we get from 10,000 to 50,000 to 100,000. It's how we navigate, solve problems, figure out where we want to go next. If you find yourself only digging into the creative well when you have to write a headline, the creative muscle isn't getting much work. Now, as a business owner, there are many things every single day you're going to do that involve a lot of creativity. Your creative mind wants to keep working. Give it things to do and make sure the amount of time that you're spending being creative outpaces the amount of time that you're spending consuming content. I've been running the Growth Accelerator and people seem to really like it and they've been getting some pretty extraordinary results. So I plan to offer it again over the coming year. If you're curious about the Growth Accelerator, add your name to the waitlist below. Otherwise, this next video is about achieving difficult things. It explains my alternative method to goal setting. I'll see you in the next video.